Picture this. You are standing right in the middle of the grocery store produce aisle.
Oh, yeah. The little misting machines have just gone off.
Right, everything's glistening under those bright fluorescent lights. And you are staring down two apples.
The ultimate modern dilemma.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because on your left, you have the conventional apple. It looks, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But on your right, you have the organic apple. It also looks perfectly fine, maybe a little smaller. But it is commanding a serious premium price.
A very serious premium.
Exactly. And you're shifting your weight from foot to foot, wondering if buying the cheaper one makes you, like, a bad parent or something.
It's a universal experience at this point.
Yeah.
You look at that organic sticker and it just feels like a test, right? A test of how much you actually care about your health.
Yeah, the marketing around health food is just incredibly loud.
It is. And it creates this intense grocery aisle anxiety for you. We are constantly forced to weigh our budget against these implied vague promises of purity and wellness.
Because the implication is always that organic is just a direct synonym for healthy.
Exactly.
But our mission for this deep dive is to figure out if that expensive apple is actually better for you. We really have to look at what that label dictates from a legal and scientific standpoint.
Right, we have to strip the marketing away entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it isn't a nutritional guarantee at all, is it?
Not directly, no. I mean, organic is primarily a legal definition.
Okay.
It's a set of agricultural standards that dictate how a food is produced, not what is actually inside it.
So it's like a set of rules for the farmer rather than, I don't know, a magic spell cast on the food.
That's a great way to put it. At its core, the organic label is a restriction on certain inputs. When a farmer decides to go organic, they are legally prohibited from using synthetic pesticides, artificial fertilizers.
Genetically modified organisms, right. GMOs.
Yes, no GMOs. And for livestock, no certain chemical additives or growth hormones.
But wait, if they're stripped of all those modern agricultural tools, they have to compensate somehow, right? To actually get the crop out of the ground.
They do, and that is where the required practices come in. Because they can't use those synthetic shortcuts, organic farmers have to heavily emphasize natural methods to maintain the farm.
What kind of methods?
Well, we're talking about intensive natural soil management, complex crop rotation to keep the soil from depleting, heavy composting, and biological pest control.
Okay, I like to think of conventional farming like raising a plant in a sterile bubble with an IV drip of targeted nutrients. Like it grows fast and big because everything is just handed to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And organic farming seems more like a rugged outdoor boot camp where the soil and the ecosystem have to do all the heavy lifting.
A boot camp. I like that.
But I want to understand the mechanisms here, specifically with that biological pest control. If you aren't spraying synthetic bug killer, how on earth do you protect a massive field of crops?
You have to engineer an ecosystem rather than just, sanitize one. So instead of spraying a chemical to wipe out an infestation of aphids, an organic farmer might release thousands of ladybugs.
Wait, really? Just release a swarm of ladybugs?
Literally thousands of them. They're the aphid's natural predator, so they release them directly into the field.
That is wild.
Or they might plant a highly attractive trap crop on the border of the field just to lure the pests away from the actual cash crop. It's a highly active biological approach to management.
That is genuinely fascinating from a farming perspective. It totally changes the relationship the farmer has with the land.
Absolutely.
But this brings up the most important question for you, the listener, standing in the grocery store holding the apple. Does that rugged boot camp environment, the ladybugs, the crop rotation, the compost, actually alter the nutritional architecture of the final product?
Well, the short answer is that the farming method does not rewrite the fundamental biology of the plant. A carrot is still a carrot.
Right.
It pulls what it needs from the soil, the sun, and the water to grow. However, there is a fascinating nuance when we look closely at the data.
What kind of nuance?
Researchers have found that organic fruits and vegetables do sometimes contain slightly higher levels of certain antioxidants and beneficial plant compounds.
Really? Why would that be? I mean, if the core biology is the same, what is causing the organic apple to generate more antioxidants?
It all comes back to that boot camp environment you mentioned.
Ah, okay.
Because organic plants don't have synthetic pesticides acting as a chemical bodyguard, they have to fend off environmental stressors and pests themselves.
Yeah, they get stressed out.
Exactly. When a plant is mildly stressed, say by a foraging insect taking a bite out of a leaf, it actually mounts an immune response.
Oh, wow.
It produces these things called secondary metabolites, which are defense compounds designed to deter the pest or heal the plant tissue.
Ah.
And when human beings consume those specific defense compounds, they function in our bodies as antioxidants.
So the plant is essentially brewing its own chemical armor, and then we get to reap the biological benefit of that struggle.
That's a perfect summary.
That makes complete sense. So, okay, there is a measurable bump in antioxidants, but what about the heavy hitters?
You mean the macronutrients?
Yeah, the protein, the dietary fiber, the essential vitamins and minerals that our bodies fundamentally rely on every day.
This is where the differences vanish almost entirely. When we measure the foundational nutrients, the vitamin C, the potassium, the iron, the fiber organic and conventional foods are virtually identical.
Virtually identical.
Yes, the soil management might change how the plant survives, but it does not magically double the vitamin capacity of a spinach leaf. Human biology responds to the presence of nutrients, not the farming methodology on the package.
Right, your digestive system does not know or care if the fiber in your broccoli is organic or conventional.
No, it really doesn't.
It just recognizes the molecular structure of fiber and puts it to work,
Yeah.
which means we need a serious reality check on how we spend our money. I mean, the sources make a really stark comparison here.
You do.
A conventional salad is still vastly healthier than a highly processed organic snack.
It's a critical distinction because we so easily lose the forest for the trees. When you eat an organic processed snack, your body is still processing the refined sugar, the sodium, and the simple carbohydrates.
A sugar spike is a sugar spike.
Exactly. The organic label does not neutralize the biological impact of a sugar spike.
So if the vitamins and minerals are practically identical and the only real nutritional bump is a slight increase in antioxidants, that alone just doesn't seem to justify paying double at the register.
For a lot of people, it doesn't.
The only thing I can think of that truly drives people to pay that premium is what is missing from the conventional apple.
The pesticide.
Yes,
Yeah.
the fear of synthetic pesticides.
That fear is undoubtedly the primary driver for a massive segment of the organic market. People want to avoid ingesting chemicals, and the initial data does support that desire. Organic foods do generally have measurably lower synthetic pesticide residues.
Well, if I'm looking at two apples and one has lower pesticide residue, the organic one just feels like the obvious choice for long-term health.
It feels obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
But that assumption completely ignores the intense regulatory landscape surrounding conventional agriculture.
What do you mean?
Conventional foods sold in places like the United States and Canada don't just go straight from a chemical-soaked field to your kitchen table. They have to pass through a gauntlet of safety thresholds,
Okay, so it's monitored.
heavily monitored.
Yeah.
Government agencies regularly test pesticide levels, establishing strict safety limits that are set incredibly low, often hundreds of times lower than the amount that would actually cause harm to a human.
So the conventional produce is highly monitored to ensure any residue is practically microscopic.
Right.
But even with that gauntlet of testing, just the idea of any residue is what causes that grocery aisle anxiety we talked about. People want quote-unquote chemical-free food.
Which is largely a myth.
Exactly. And looking at this source material, I have to push back on this entire chemical-free assumption. Organic farmers can still use approved natural pesticides, right?
Yes. This is probably one of the most misunderstood aspects of agriculture today. Organic does not mean pesticide-free.
Right.
Organic farmers still battle pests, and they still use sprays. The difference is that their pesticides must be derived from natural sources, rather than synthesized in a lab.
Like what?
Copper sulfate, for example. It's a widely used organic fungicide.
But wait, if natural pesticides are still, by definition, toxic compounds designed to kill pests, are consumers just swapping a synthetic chemical for a natural chemical?
They are. It raises a vital point about how human beings perceive toxicity. We operate under this really powerful fallacy that natural automatically means harmless and synthetic automatically means toxic.
Yeah, that's totally how we think.
But biology simply doesn't work that way. Natural compounds can be incredibly potent and highly toxic. They have to be, otherwise they wouldn't work as pesticides at all.
Wow.
The regulatory distinction between organic and conventional is about the origin of the chemical, not necessarily its safety profile.
That completely shatters the illusion for me. An organic apple might still have pesticide residue on it. It is just a natural pesticide residue.
Which is exactly why the most practical, everyday tip applies to both organic and conventional produce. Yeah. Wash your fruits and vegetables thoroughly under running water.
Just wash them.
Just wash them. A good wash significantly reduces surface residues regardless of the farming method. The calm, rational takeaway that experts emphasize is wonderfully simple.
Let's hear it.
Eating fruits and vegetables is far, far more important than avoiding them just because the organic option is too expensive.
That is so important.
The documented, massive health benefits of consuming a conventional apple completely dwarf the hypothetical risks of regulated, trace pesticide residues.
So do not skip the broccoli just because it doesn't have a premium sticker.
Never skip the broccoli.
And we know this consciously. We know that eating a vegetable is better than not eating a vegetable. We know that organic sugar is still sugar. But here's where it gets really interesting.
The psychology of it all.
Yes. When you are actually in the store, that marketing halo is so incredibly powerful. You see the green leaf logo on a box of organic gummy bears, and your brain just magically erases the calories. It tricks us into feeling like we are making a healthy choice.
Psychologists refer to this as the health halo effect, and it frequently leads to moral licensing.
Moral licensing.
Yeah, because the product has an organic label, your brain categorizes it as virtuous. And that perceived virtue gives you subconscious moral permission to eat 3 organic cookies instead of just 1 conventional cookie.
Oh man, I am definitely guilty of that.
We all are. You justify the overconsumption because the label makes you feel safe.
It creates this bizarre dietary blind spot. We start prioritizing the marketing category over the actual macronutrients.
Exactly.
And the halo effect also makes us look at the conventional produce aisle like it is somehow radioactive. We start believing the myth that conventional food is fundamentally unsafe.
That is the fear-mongering side of the health halo. By elevating organic as the ultimate standard of purity, the marketing implicitly demonizes conventional food.
Right.
But as we discussed with the regulatory gauntlet, conventional food is deeply regulated and monitored. It provides the exact same foundational nutrients your body needs to thrive.
So letting the fear of conventional produce drive you toward an organic, highly processed granola bar loaded with syrups, that's a perfect example of the label tricking you into a measurably less nutritious choice.
It is a profound distraction from actual nutrition.
It really is. But let's step back for a second, because if the personal health benefits, the nutrition and the safety are so fundamentally similar, why do educated, informed consumers still fiercely insist on buying organic?
That's a great question.
If it isn't drastically changing their own biology, what are they paying for? Because the sources point out that for many people, the definition of health extends far beyond their own bodies. It extends to the environment.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the conversation completely shifts. Organic farming is not just about the biochemical makeup of the food on your plate. It is an overarching philosophy of land management.
So it's about the earth, not just the apple.
Exactly. When done correctly, organic farming supports vastly improved soil quality. Because they are relying on compost and crop rotation rather than synthetic fertilizers, the soil microbiome becomes incredibly complex and rich.
And because they aren't blanketing the fields in synthetic chemicals, they aren't wiping out the local ecosystems.
Precisely the opposite. Organic practices actively increase biodiversity on the farm. You see more diverse insect populations, more birds, and a much healthier surrounding ecosystem.
That makes sense.
It also significantly reduces the amount of synthetic chemical runoff that ends up in local water systems. Organic agriculture heavily promotes sustainable practices designed to keep the land fertile for decades.
So for a lot of people, buying organic has very little to do with trying to get more vitamin C. It isn't a selfish health choice. It is an environmental vote with their wallet.
Right. They are paying the premium to fund a specific type of land stewardship.
Okay.
Many consumers choose organic because it aligns with their broader values. They recognize that health isn't just about what they consume today. It is about protecting the natural resources, the soil vitality, and the water systems that future generations will depend on to grow their food.
It's taking a long-term global view of planetary health.
Exactly.
And that is an incredibly valid reason to choose organic. If you have the budget and environmental stewardship is your priority, buying organic produce is a direct way to support those systems.
Without a doubt.
But it brings us to a crucial pivot point for you, the listener. With all the labels, the psychological myths, the environmental factors, and the marketing laid out on the table, what actually drives good health on a daily practical basis?
The million-dollar question.
Right. If the organic sticker isn't a magic bullet for human longevity, what actually is?
The scientific consensus on human longevity and health is remarkably consistent. And honestly, it rarely focuses on farming methodology.
Right.
Yeah. When researchers study the healthiest global diets, The populations that live the longest, with the lowest rates of chronic disease, they all share fundamental, unglamorous characteristics.
No magic labels, just foundational habits. What are those common denominators?
Well, these populations build their diets around abundant amounts of fruits and vegetables. They prioritize whole grains over refined grains. They rely on lean proteins and healthy fats, like nuts, seeds, and olive oil.
Okay.
And critically, they severely limit their intake of ultra-processed foods.
So whether that foundational bowl of lentils and spinach is organic or conventional has far less impact on their overall health than the fact that they are eating lentils and spinach in the first place.
Exactly. Consistency matters infinitely more than labels. Consuming a diverse range of nutrient-dense foods is the absolute goal.
Yeah.
Eating a conventional apple every single day is going to do vastly more for your cardiovascular health, your brain function, and your gut microbiome than eating an organic apple once a month and stressing over the grocery bill.
It is about the actual substance of the food entering your body, not the marketing category it belongs to.
100%.
So, to bring this deep dive in for a landing, let's look at the final verdict. Is organic food really healthier? Based on a complete breakdown of the science, the answer is sometimes, but not in the dramatic, life-altering way the marketing suggests.
Right. It provides lower exposure to synthetic pesticides, and it absolutely offers real, tangible, environmental benefits for soil and water systems.
But the nutritional differences, the essential vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients your body needs are incredibly small.
They are. Both organic and conventional foods pass strict safety standards, and both can entirely support a nutritious, balanced lifestyle.
The absolute healthiest choice isn't about finding the perfect premium label to assuage your guilt. It is simply the choice that allows you to eat more real, minimally processed whole foods every single day within your budget.
Which leaves us with a truly fascinating hypothetical to consider.
Oh, I like hypotheticals.
Think about the massive amount of energy, money, and anxiety we pour into debating organic versus conventional produce. What if everyone simply stopped worrying about the organic label entirely?
Wow. What if we took all that societal focus, all that grocery aisle anxiety, and directed it purely toward eating conventional whole foods while completely ditching organic processed junk?
Exactly.
How drastically would global health improve if we all just ate the conventional broccoli and skipped the organic cookies? Does the modern obsession with the organic label actually serve as a costly distraction from the fundamental, simple rules of basic nutrition?
It's a big question.
It is something to think about next time you are standing under those misting machines. Take a deep breath, pick the apple that fits your budget, put it in your cart, and know that just by choosing the apple, you're already making the right choice.